Hi, bestie. Welcome back to Girl House. It's sadly just me this week. Celia is at a wedding right now, so I'm holding down the fort. And I know, I originally started this podcast alone, obviously, but I'm not gonna lie, I tried to record an episode yesterday and I forgot how to record by myself. I've just gotten so used to having Celia here and someone to talk to. I've gotten I found myself, I kept restarting the recording yesterday. I was like, what the hell? And I was getting so frustrated, I just gave up. So we're going to do a bestie check-in today because I thought that it'll feel like I'm chatting with you versus me just sitting here spewing. I was going to do 27 things I learned when I was 27. And then as I was going down the list, I was like, did I really learn this? It was oh, embarrassment is a mindset, etc. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting around feeling humiliated every day. Embarrassment's a choice. Yeah, it is a choice, and I choose to live embarrassed. So, I feel like some of the things I was kind of just spewing bullshit, to be honest. Because it's hard to think of 27 things I learned last year. But anyway, yeah, we're doing a bestie check-in. I always do these on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, follow me, Callie Wilson _. I usually post these on stories, but I thought it would be fun to do a bestie check-in podcast today. Updates on my end. Let's see. Well, I'm 28 now. And you know what? I feel great being 28. I feel like all of a sudden I used to think 30 was so old and I had to have my life together and I was freaking out approaching the age of 30. But now that I am a wise 28-year-old, I'm realizing 30 is so young and there's no rush. Yes, I did think I would be married with kids by now, and I'm not. But I would rather be single and happy and liking my life than settling for someone and getting married and having kids just so I'm married by 28. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, I went home for my birthday. And my friend, I was on the phone with her 2 days ago, and she was like, well, was it another birthday you cried? Because I always cry on my birthday. I feel like that might be a Virgo thing, so I've heard. I've told you this before, but one of my first memories ever was my third birthday, I think. I remember it was a little birthday party. I think I had one best friend that came over, and her parents, my brother. Anyway, I just remember so vividly everyone started singing happy birthday to me, and I will never forget just the feeling of I felt so uncomfortable. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know if I was supposed to sing too or just stand there, and I just remember I felt so awkward and I got so overwhelmed. I ran up to my room, slammed the door, and just sat in my room sobbing. It must have been my fourth birthday, right? Because I feel like that'd be crazy if I could remember my third birthday. It was probably my fourth birthday. Whatever year it was, it's one of my first memories. And yeah, I just have always been weird about my birthday. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I always get out of town on my birthday because I quite frankly, honestly just don't want people being like, oh my God, what are you doing for your birthday? And me I don't know. I feel like there's this pressure to have these epic plans and I never do. So I'd rather just be out of town. So when people are like, what are you doing for your birthday? I'm just well, I'm out of town. But I went home for 4 days and I actually didn't bring Ducky, which is wild because I usually always bring him, but I was going for a short period of time. And this is really, really sad and heartbreaking. Our kitty, if you've been around since 2020, our kitty at home, Nebby, was sick. And so I didn't want to bring Ducky to have him harass her more because she already wasn't feeling well. She was only 5 years old and she had to get put down because she had it was a some form of cancer or a heart problem or something, but she was just having so much trouble breathing and she was so in pain and so uncomfortable. We had to put her down, which is so sad because she was the sweetest, sweetest kitty girl ever. And if you remember from my vlogs in 2020, I would always be yelling at Nebby to get off the counter. So yeah, I didn't want to bring Ducky and have her stressed, but then ended up she had to get put down before I even got home, which is just, yeah. Ugh. Having pets is so hard because you're always gonna outlive them. And that's especially Nebby was only 5 years old, which is just, ugh, it's really, yeah. But anyway, I didn't bring Ducky. It was the longest I had ever been apart from him, I think. Maybe I'd been away. Maybe when I went to Nantucket, I was away from him for that long, but like he was with my parents. This time he was with his sitter. And he literally loves his sitter is the girls, like the kitty sitter who comes and watches Cleo and Luna. She watches Ducky now too when I'm like going away for a short period of time, or this was the first time I dropped him off for a long period of time. But he like I just drop him off at her house, and she has a dog too, an Australian Shepherd, and he loves it there. Like I thought I was gonna have to feel bad. Maybe he'd like be like a little sad I was dropping him off because like I don't know, when I drop him off at the groomers, for example, I feel awful because he's like shaking and like pulling and like barking trying to go back to me. When I went and dropped him off at her house before I left for the airport, he was so excited. He was literally pulling so hard, didn't even look back at me, just like ran away with her into the sunset and was like, I mean, he was happy to see me when I picked him up, but it made me feel very good because obviously like it would be a lot harder to drop him off if I thought he was sad and uncomfortable. And that brings me, I totally forgot about this. That brings me to another crazy update that happened to me at the airport. Let me explain to you how I got bamboozled by my Uber driver, okay? So I ordered an Uber, as you do, to go to the airport. Keep in mind, like, an Uber to the airport is always like at least $50, which is like more because there's like a surcharge because you're going to the airport. So, like, I'm paying more to go to the airport, whatever. So I do remember before like I get into this, I'm just gonna say like I feel like a few times ago when I went to the airport, my Uber driver was telling me that like eventually Ubers weren't going to be able to, or there was going to be like a separate section. No, it wasn't even about Ubers. It was about drop-offs in general. Now that I'm remembering, apparently LAX is doing something where there's going to be like when you're getting dropped off at the airport, Uber or not. I think there's going to be a different. Don't quote me on this. All I know is I heard something, so that made me believe this a little more. But if you've been to LAX, you know that when you arrive to the airport and you're trying to leave the airport, if you want to take an Uber, unless you order an Uber Black, which I quite frankly always order an Uber Black, because they can pick you up curbside, and it's usually only like $30 more, and I have Ducky and I'm tired and I'm out of and out, and it's just worth the extra $30 to me. Anyway, if you don't do that, there is like a pickup section and you get on a bus, and then the bus brings you down to an Uber lot. That's the other reason I don't do it, is because I get really claustrophobic, and it's just anyway, I've got to stop justifying things I do and just whatever. But yeah, it brings you to an Uber lot, and then you like get your Uber there, if that makes sense. Like you can't have, unless you do an Uber Black, you can't have the Uber pick you up like at your terminal. But you can, your Ubers can always drop you off at your terminal. There's like never been a thing where they can't drop you off. So my Uber driver, I really think that I either think she missed the turn, or she just literally did not want to sit through airport traffic because it was a weekend. Was it a weekend? I think it was a Friday? No, maybe it was a Thursday. I don't know. She was trying to get out of something because she like starts like going towards arrivals instead of departures, which would have been fine because you can just go down the stairs or up the stairs. One of the two. But then she's like, I don't know where I'm going. And then I was like, oh, well, you need to go to departures. It's over there. And then she was like, no, I can't do that anymore. And I was like, what do you mean? And she was like, yeah, you can't drop people off at the terminal anymore. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, since when? And she's like, yeah, it's this new thing. And in my head, I like kind of believed it. Well, I fully believed it because I had an Uber driver tell me like recently, like, oh, they're going to change something about drop off. So I was like, okay. So she drops me off at like the shuttle place. And keep in mind, like the shuttle place is like on the outskirts of the airport. Okay. And so she drops me off there, and I get out of the Uber, and I don't see any shuttles like leaving. And she even told me, I don't really know where you're gonna get picked up, but I mean, I guess I'll just leave you here. And I was like, okay, I'll figure it out. So I go, and I like don't really see any shuttles picking anyone up, and I've never heard of this. And I also was like, what the actual hell? Thank God I don't have Ducky with me. So then I go up to the security guard well, I don't know if he was a security guard. He was someone who was working there. And I was like, "Hey, like where's the shuttle to pick up?" And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And I was like, "My Uber driver just told me that like shuttles are picking you up here now." And he was like, "Your Uber driver's a liar." I was like, "Okay." And he was on the phone, so he that's all he said to me. And then he was like, "You're gonna have to walk." And I was like, "Cool." So thank God I got to the airport early. I literally didn't eat dinner on purpose because I was in Terminal 4. And Terminal 4 has a Barney's and I love the grilled cheese from Barney's. So I was like so excited. I like love an airport dinner. Like sometimes I do get to the airport early on purpose just so I can like have a dinner by myself and like drink a glass of wine. I realized like I really like going to dinner by myself, but I only feel comfortable doing it in the airport. So I really take advantage of when I am flying somewhere because it gives me an excuse to go out to eat. But I just feel like there's no rules in the airport, nothing's weird. I just have a blast. And now I'm like, maybe I could go out to eat by myself sometime. I do edit in a little like wine coffee bar. I'll be heading there after I finish recording this. My whole point is thank God I got to the airport early and I had to walk from the shuttle place all the way to Terminal 4, which, by the way, once I got to my gate, I had walked over a mile. Like, she literally dropped me off a mile away from my terminal, which was just insane. I was like fuming, and I really think she did it on purpose. And then I always automatically like tip my Uber 20% and give them 5 stars without thinking. And so when I opened the app when I got back to LA to order an Uber, I automatically 5 star, 20%. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm annoyed that I tipped her, but maybe she really didn't know. But I feel like she was acting a little suspicious. It wasn't the end of the world. It was just I wasn't able to get Barney's because I didn't have time, and I was in like this weird part of Terminal 4. If I were to go to Barney's, it would have been like a 5 to 10, probably a 10-minute walk through the airport. And at this point, I'm like, only have a little bit of time before my flight. So I ended up going to this weird, well, there was one option. It was a strange sports bar, and I got like these gross nachos and a glass of wine, and then I fell asleep on the plane, and it was whatever. That's my complaint about my my recent trip. But when I got home, but going home was so nice. I hung out with my parents, and Celia came home while I was home, so that was really fun. We hung out like every night, and then me, Celia's mom, Celia, my mom went to dinner, and then Celia's sister Britta also she like surprised me. I didn't know she was gonna come home, but she surprised me, and then me, Celia, and Britta went and got like a drink after. It was just like a very low key birthday eve, and then on my birthday I just went to dinner with my parents, and it just like the whole point being I put no pressure on my birthday. I didn't really think about my birthday. Like I didn't make it a big deal. I don't like it to be a big deal. I just had dinner at my favorite restaurant, and that was it. And yeah, I feel like that's how I'm gonna do my birthdays from now on, is just like not even act like it's my birthday. Cause I really don't like that. It just like it makes me so uncomfortable. I actually wanted to kill Celia because when we were getting drinks, she started to tell because we like ordered a bottle of prosecco for the three of us to share, or it was like a sparkling rosé or something. And Celia started to say, like, oh, it is a birthday. And I, like, cut her off. I was like, bro, you will literally ruin my entire birthday if you do this right now. And she knows. I've told her 1,000 times, do not mention it's like everyone knows if you go out to eat with me on my birthday, you may not mention it is my birthday or else I will freak out. I will leave. Like, it makes me so uncomfortable. But anyway, luckily the waitress did not hear. And I was like, and it was a nice evening. And now I'm back in LA, and it feels really good to be back in LA because it was starting to feel like fall on the East Coast. And I hate fall. I've always been a fall hater. And it really sucks having a birthday that's like basically in the fall. I wish I was born. Apparently, like I was supposed to be born like 2 weeks earlier. I was talking to my mom about it when I was home. And I wish I would have been born 2 weeks earlier because then I would be like still like very much in summer. But unfortunately, I'm on the cusp of fall. But then I probably wouldn't be a Virgo, right? And not that I like really, I don't totally believe in astrology stuff, but I do to the extent that I am a Virgo to a T. And I do feel I hate to say it, but I really maybe this will rile some people up, but I feel like Virgos are just the best. Like, we have everything together, we keep everyone in line and order, we're there for everyone. I don't know, I just think Virgos are awesome, so I'm proud to be a Virgo. Nonetheless, I'm happy to be back in LA because it still very much feels like summer here. We're actually in a heat wave right now. It's like 85 degrees on the west side, which is really abnormal for like the beach. And I don't have air conditioning, which, as you know, I grew up without air conditioning, and I find it like air conditioning doesn't feel homey to me because I grew up without it. So like I'm very accustomed to like not having air conditioning, but these past 2 weeks have been a little brutal without like a little AC. This is my first time not having AC in LA. And like I said, it's always been fine, but it's like 80 degrees in here right now. It cools down at night. Like every morning I wake up and it's like down to 70 degrees. But the kitties and Ducky are definitely like they're just like lounging around the house because they're all so tired because it's so hot. But I went to the beach yesterday and the water is so unbelievably warm right now. It really is like the best beach weather in September, which is another reason I'm reminding myself summer's not over. I wish everyone would stop saying summer's over because it's just not. Summer does not end until October here, I feel like. And September is a really beautiful beach month. The water's warm. The beaches are empty, which honestly kind of makes me feel weird because I'm like, oh, summer's over, but it's a lot more pleasant to go to an empty beach. I guess those are all my updates. Well, I have one more update, but I feel shy talking about it now that Celia's not here. I don't know why. I feel like when she's here, I feel like I'm like just chatting. But now that I'm by myself, I feel like I'm just like spilling tea on myself. But this is not, I tell you everything. So well, I mentioned that I have a new crush that I went to the beach with like 2 weeks ago. It just makes me feel awkward because I always think no one's listening to my podcast, and then people do listen. But I hope this is for Girl House only. But my whole point is, I have a new crush, and we hung out this week, and he still is very much a crush of mine. Like, I have not felt like excited about someone for a long time. And yeah, I think he's very sweet and very kind and cute. And I have a crush. That's all I'll say. So those are all my updates. Okay, let's get into your updates and stuff going on in your life in the Bestie Check-In. Interviewing for a new job tomorrow, Bestie, and I am so anxious. I wish I had better job interviewing. Well, first of all, by the time you hear this, my advice will be irrelevant because you will have already had your interview. So all I will say is, I hope your interview goes great. That's really exciting. I will never forget my last interview for, like, I guess it wasn't a job, it was an internship. But I worked at like this weird, weird law firm in New York with this weird, weird lawyer who like would brag to me about all the drugs he did. He was definitely doing coke in the office. His like clients would like tell me how beautiful I was and ask me like they'd stop me and ask me to take photos, and he would make me like greet all of his old creepy clients and like walk them up to the office. And I never really had anything to do there. Like, I kind of just sat there. I think he just liked having me around. It was weird. It was a really weird place. Like, I really barely did anything. I just honestly would go up to my little room and do my reading, which was nice for me. But the worst part too is like I didn't have regular hours. Like, I never knew what day I was going in, what day I wasn't. He would just like text me like an hour before and be like, you need to come in today for this long. And I just like never, it overwhelmed me as someone who likes structure, but also like I couldn't even plan like my days around. Sometimes I'd have to be like, bro, I have class right now, like I can't come in. And he used to send me these like crazy emails too and text. I'll have to try to see if I can find it, but I remember one time he was sending me over honestly some pretty unimportant documents that I had to like go over, and he like sent them at like 3 a.m. and he was like, sorry for sending these so late, but I was just at an amazing after party where there were so many celebrities, including Alicia Keys, who performed. Like, it was just like he was trying to flex so hard, and I could tell like when I came in the next morning he was dying to talk about it. And then like I, like, was like, "How long is it gonna take him to bring this up?" And it literally was, like, 2 seconds, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm a little hungover from last night." And then he was like and he would also always brag to me about how he was, like, best friends with the top surgeon in New York City, and whenever he needed any kind of pill, he could get it, and I was like, "You why are you telling me this?" But anyway, my whole point being, my interview for him went terribly because I sent him, the wrong resume. I sent him I don't know how this happened, 'cause I had the right resume pulled up, I swear. I must have had, like, multiple saved in my computer, and I sent him one literally from undergrad, and he was like, "Well, this is great, but, like, where's all your information about law school?" 'Cause I had been in law school, it was my 3rd year of law school. It was a really awkward interview, and I left, like, wanting to cry, but then he gave me the job. So, yeah, it went well, but I hope your interview goes better than my most recent interview went. Best thriller novels. Okay, I saw this one and I made, like I wish I need to get better about, like I'm trying to, when I read a book, put it in my notes and, like, give it a rating because I read so many thrillers because I love a good thriller, like and I only really read I love to read and I only like to read thrillers, I think because it's, like, kind of an escape and I'm like, "Wow, I'm stressed about something in my life right now. Things could be a lot worse if I was this person with, like, my husband cheating on me with some woman who's trying to kill me." Like, I love a good thriller, but I read so many, I don't really I could not even begin to name, like, my top thrillers, but I went through my bookshelf and picked out, like, a few, I think, like, 7 or 8 books that I read this summer that I thought were really good. And I couldn't tell you what they're about because I forgot, really. But the most recent one I read was The Business Trip. This one really got me by the title or no, the description, because it was like, think Gone Girl, but trad wife style. And there's, like, a lot of trad wife thrillers coming out, like, I just actually got another trad wife thriller at the airport that I'm looking forward to reading, but that was really, really good. Did I say Everyone Is Lying to You, or did I say The Business Trip? I hope I said Everyone Is Lying to You. The name of the book I was just talking about was Everyone Is Lying to You. The Business Trip I read. I guess that was the only book I've rated this summer, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. I said the plot twist ending was a stretch, but other than that, very good. I don't even remember what it was about. I put Fan Club. That's what I'm reading right now, and I'm, like, halfway through. It's really good. It's like what is Fan Club about? I should know because 'cause I'm reading it right now. Fan Club, oh, it's about, like, this girl who kind of is just working, like, some mundane, like, job she doesn't really like in New York, doesn't really, like, have much excitement in her life. It's just kinda, like, in, like, a lull, and then she gets, like, obsessed with this singer and joins this, like, really obsessive, weird group that's all obsessed with this singer. Um, and then something creepy happens, but I haven't gotten to that part yet. But oh my god, that just reminded me. I watched speaking of, like, obsessive, weird things, I watched on Netflix yesterday just, like, randomly. I was, like, looking for something to watch because I just finished Hunting Wives, which is so good. Ugh, I wish Celia was here, and I'm talking about TV. She loves talking about TV. But I watched Hunting Wives, which is so good, like, unbelievable. And then I'm actually rewatching it with my crush right now. But I watched Hunting Wives, and then I watched, Sirens, which I thought Sirens was really good until, like, I feel like they got kinda lazy on the ending, I don't know. But last night I watched, this movie called, like I think it was called, like, The Devil on Campus, about this guy, Larry Ray. If you haven't watched it or heard of him before, because I hadn't, he basically started what they called, like, this sex cult at I can't remember what school it was, but the whole thing, basically, it's, like, the creepiest story ever, and it's true, like, it really happened. He was this girl's dad, and he moved into their dorm. Like, it was supposed to be, like, a temporary thing while he found a place to live, and he ended up fully moving in with them, and over the course of 4 years, he would, like, he made like one of the couples have sex with each other. Like he was really abusive with them. He'd like hit them with a hammer if they did anything like wrong. He like had them totally brainwashed. Like it was a complete cult. And I won't give too much away. He like extremely sex trafficked one of the girls, and she like didn't realize she was being trafficked at the time. Like it's crazy. And it's a completely true story. This guy is in prison for 60 years, and his daughter went to prison for 4 years. But it's a crazy, crazy story. Other books I have on my list, she started it. Can't tell you what it's about, but Count My Lies, Keep Your Friends Close, So Happy Together. I do remember this one, So Happy Together. That one was really good. But it's about like this, I love like a book about like an obsessive girl. And it was this book about this girl. She goes on a date, like 4 dates with this guy, and gets like really obsessed with him. He kind of ghosts her or ends things. I can't remember if he ghosts her or ends things with her, but then she sees him out with like his new girlfriend who he actually starts dating, and she gets like obsessed and is like trying to win him back, but in like a creepy obsessive way. And of course there's a plot twist at the end. And then the last one I put on is an audiobook I'm listening to right now. I love, love, love Stephen King. I remember like when I was, I think in middle school, my mom made me read my first Stephen King book, Pet Sematary, and I was so annoyed because I was like, I don't know, when you're forced to read a book, like I've always loved reading, but I was like, I want to read a book I want to read, and I was like, who the hell is this Stephen King guy? But I read Pet Sematary, and then I watched the movie, and then I fell in love with Stephen King. His books are so good. He is just like such a talented writer, and the way he like just pops out books is crazy. And like you'd think maybe the quality would be low because he's popping out so many books like all the time, but they're always like so well written. He's just a master. But anyway, I would say like my three, well, first of all, let me get into what I'm trying to say. Christine is the audiobook I'm listening to right now. I bought the book and then I like needed an audiobook for the flight home, so I just downloaded Christine on Audible. I've seen the movie before, and I love the movie, but I'd never read the book. And so I am listening to the audiobook Christine right now, and it is so good. The movie's really, really good too, but the books are always better. But it's really, really good. If you haven't seen the movie Christine, it's basically about this guy who gets like this really junky car and gets really creepily obsessed with it, and obviously like there's like some supernatural stuff going on with the car, whatever. But my other like I would say like my top 2 Stephen King books and movies that are more, because like a lot of his books are like a little more I don't really, well, he does like supernatural stuff, sci-fi stuff. I stay away from his sci-fi more because I don't really like sci-fi, but I love him, so I'll still read it. But like my favorite books by him are still like more like creepy, thrillery. And my I think my favorite book by him ever is Misery, and the movie's so good. It's about this author who crashes his car, and some woman comes and saves him to like nurse him because it's a snowstorm. Anyway, she ends up being like an obsessive fan. It's really, really good. And the movie and the book are like amazing. And then Christine, or not Christine, sorry, I just said that. Carrie, that is like one of my, that actually probably is my number one. The movie is just so, so good. The book is so good. The story's so creepy. It's about this girl, like she's like a major outcast at her school. She's in high school, and her mom is like crazy religious, like super, super creepy, crazy religious, and thinks that Carrie is like the devil. Both really, really good. So those are all my book recommendations and a few movie recs too. Literally tripped over my own suitcase and face planted at LAX. I am mortified. Oh, bestie. That would really, I mean, I would I feel if that happened to me, I hope it was in like a not busy part of LAX. I mean, falling is just humiliating, but tripping over your suitcase and face planting, like that's pretty bad. I mean, I know I told you this recently, but my most recent fall was walking down Abbot Kinney when it was really busy. It was like 12:30, like prime lunchtime. I fell super hard onto the ground, scrape my knees up and everyone gasped. It was humiliating. And once again, like, it was not like a little trip. It was same thing. Like, I guess, like, yeah, I don't know if you'd call it a face plant. I landed on my hands and my knees. I was on the ground. So I hope you're recovering from that humiliation. Falling in front of people is just, there's like nothing more embarrassing than falling. I really, oh God. I'll never forget. I know I've told the story before, but like falling and then fainting. Remember, I definitely have told the story, but it was like my number one ick from this guy. I was like, wouldn't even say we were, I mean, we were going on dates. I had like known him from like before, and then like we both were living in New York, and I couldn't really decide if I liked him or not. So I like brought him out to meet with like some of my friends at a bar, and he I guess, like, took too much kratom before he came to meet all of us, which I'm just like, "What? Who even does kratom? And what are you doing taking that before, like, you meet I don't know." Anyway, I guess it affected him negatively. We're all chatting to him, and then, like, all of a sudden, his eyes just glaze over, he stops responding to me, and I'm like, "Hello? Like, are you good? Are you good?" I thought he was just being weird because he was being, like, really kind of weird and awkward and rude the whole night. And then all of a sudden, he just falls backwards and faints on the bar floor, and his glasses go flying off his head, his wallet flies out of his pocket, and he's just laying there, and I am just like, once he, of course, for a second, I was obviously concerned about him, but then when he sat up, I was like, this is just, oh, wow, was that an ick? I'm sorry if that's an asshole thing to say that that's an ick for me to see someone fainting, but if you need to get over someone, just imagine them fainting and their wallet flying out of their pocket and their glasses flying off their head. And then he was like, "Have you seen my glasses?" I was like, "Yeah, they're over there on the floor. So is your wallet." Um, and then, like, my friend, like, her boyfriend at the time and his friend were trying to comfort this guy, being like, "Yeah, like, when, like, we were smoking, we all felt kinda dizzy too, like, it's not just you," and he was like, "Bro, I know what you're trying to do, like, cut the bullshit, like, stop trying to make me feel better." He got super moody, and then, like, for some reason, we, like, all went back to our apartment building because me and this girl lived in the same apartment building, and don't ask me why I invited him back. Obviously, I kind of felt bad because he fainted, and yeah, we got kicked out of the bar because he fainted. Because the guy was like, "I'm sorry, but you can't now that you've fainted, you can't stay here." And so we went back and he, like, ordered the Uber, and he ordered, like, an Uber X and or an Uber Black or something, like, to try to flex. Yeah, he ordered it, like, a big car, and then he just sat in the front and just started blasting, like, this weird techno music and was just, like, silent and super moody. People were trying to talk to him, and he was just, like, turning up the music, like, clouding everyone out. This guy was weird. He also was the one who never forget, like, by the way, we never hooked up. He, like, slept over a few times, can't explain why, but we never hooked up. We didn't even ever make out. Like, we literally shared maybe one peck. It was a very strange, we were basically having platonic sleepovers, and I never wanted him. I think he slept over, like, 3 or 4 times, but one time we went on a date to one of my favorite Italian restaurants in New York, in Soho, called Sola. If you're in New York and you haven't been, I think they changed their name now to A Pasta Bar, I think. But it's like this really cool little pasta bar in Soho. And they have like the like kitchen in the middle that you sit around while they make your pasta, and it's all fresh pasta. It's super good. Anyway, we went on a date there one night, and it was after I think, like, it was, like, some I don't know anything about soccer, but some UK team versus Italy, okay? And he's from the UK, and Italy had won that year, and when we went to the Italian restaurant, like, he was, like, so torn up about it, like, this is something I just, like, don't understand. I know people get really emotional about sports, whatever. I guess I won't delve into it, but I'm just kinda like, "Bro, it's a game. It is literally a game. I'm sorry, but why are we, like, freaking out?" Like, people literally killed each other over a game. Like, it seems strange to me. I have trouble understanding it. But what I will say is he was one of those kinds of guys who's very serious about it. And so, and it's been like 2 weeks since Italy won. He's already brought it up several times. He like texted me and he was like, I'm not doing so good. Like, Italy won. I thought he was like joking at first, but he was like being for real. Like, he needed space or something. Because anyway, we're at the restaurant and the waiter comes and he's Italian. And he, the guy I'm with, I almost just said his name, he starts cheering up to the waiter. And he's literally crying at the restaurant. And he's like, I'm really sorry, but it's super hard for me to be around Italians right now. And then he was like, congrats on the win, though. I've never seen anything like that. It was humiliating. Who says that? And then we like, don't ask me why we went home. Probably because we drank a ton of dinner and I was like, whatever. We went back to my house and I don't know, did we go to another bar after? I don't know, but we ended up going back to my house and I was like gonna order pizza because it was like late at this point and we'd been out drinking and yeah, I wanted a slice of pizza. And he was like, bro, you already had so many carbs tonight, like, skip the pizza. And I'm like, you're going to tell me not to order pizza in my own house right now because you think I've had too many carbs and we are not even close to dating. We haven't even made out before. Who are you going to tell me if I can order pizza or not in my own home? But obviously then I felt awkward, so I didn't order pizza. But yeah, he was an interesting character. I obviously ghosted him after that, and he sent me the world's longest message. It's crazy. I'm getting off topic, but the whole point, he was like, yeah, I know you're like super icked out by me, and like, it was just a really crazy long text. I ghosted him after he fainted, because I mean, if I liked him, I wouldn't have, but that was just the last straw. So, oh, not only was that the last straw, but then me and my friend went like on TikTok live that night. This was when I was in a really bad habit of like getting drunk and going on TikTok live. And I like had really bad anxiety in the morning and I was like, oh, I feel like kind of just like awkward that I went on live last night. And instead of like being like, oh, like it's all good, he was like, you know what? I want you to really, really soak in this feeling right now. And I want you to remember this. Next time you decide that you want to go on TikTok or do something that's going to make you feel embarrassed when you drink. And like, I get what he's saying, I guess, but like not the right time or place. And I had to tell him to leave because I just couldn't. Yeah. Okay. So that was a really long, wow, we're just on like the second. That was a really long explanation. Please give advice for how to stop overthinking, get out of your own head, and be in the moment. Well, I wish I had. I mean, I need to give myself this advice too. Although I feel like, honestly, may I be honest with you? Obviously, you know I have OCD, anxiety. I'm like the world's biggest overthinker. I spiral. But what's helped me the most, quite frankly, is going on Prozac and Wellbutrin. That has changed my life. And I feel like I am a lot happier of a person, a lot more relaxed of a person. And I was super against going back on Prozac because when I took it the first time, I honestly like just had some negative, like, I feel like I gained a lot of weight on it. And I don't know if there's correlation with just like the lifestyle I was living too at the time. But I also was on like 80 milligrams or something. I was on a really high dosage. So now I'm on a lower dosage. I definitely could like probably go on a higher dosage, but I'm not having any like bad side effects, especially with like the Wellbutrin combo. And my whole point being, it's just changed my life. Like, don't be afraid to um like go on medication. It's there for a reason. And I was so against it. But also I'm like, if you gain a few pounds from it, like I would rather gain a few pounds and like not be in like a prison in my own mind. So I would say like that's the best advice I could really give. But aside from like medication, have like little hobbies and things you do that can get you out of your head. Like so for example, like my go-to, and I know Celia and I always like preach this, but is like going for a walk and having an audiobook, like a good audiobook to listen to on your walk, or like listen to a YouTube video. Like I like listening to interrogations when I go on walks. So I listen to like police interrogations, like just like something that gets you out of your head. Like the second you're moving and like walking and you're outside, treadmill's fine too, but I really think like there's something like special about like being out in nature. Like I really like the phrase like go outside and touch grass. Like it's for real because I feel like whenever I'm spiraling about something or overthinking something or like upset about something, if I force myself to go for a walk and go outside, then I kind of realize like, whoa, it's not that deep. Like it doesn't have to be that deep. Everything's fine. And so I think walking always really helps me. It also forces your brain to produce endorphins, so that's like a plus too, because that makes you happy. But other things that like I feel like when I'm overthinking or spiraling, I really don't like to be on my phone because I feel like often like from what things I'm spiraling from are like coming from my phone. So I like to put my phone away in like a different room and then do something that like gets me out of my head and like also like keeps my hands busy. So I love to Mod Podge. I go and I get like a bunch of vintage Playboys and Hustlers and I like just cut them out and make canvases, and like that is like an activity I love to do that gets me so out of my head. And like I'll put like a TV show on the background that I don't really like have to focus on, like some crazy TLC show. I love TLC shows. And or I've been really into, and I'm gonna get back into it now that I have short nails again. It feels so good to have short nails. I got long nails. I like have had short nails all summer, but then I went back to long and I hated it. Like I actually didn't even like it anymore. So I think I'm like officially a short nail girl. But beading, I've been really into beading, like making little beaded bracelets. And it keeps you busy, it gets you out of your head. When I've been really down bad, I've picked up knitting. Like anything that just like gets you off your phone, keeps your hands busy and like kind of gets you out of your mind. Or like just reading a good book. Like I love reading because watching TV for me like doesn't get me out of my head ever because I can just scroll on my phone and I just like have trouble I guess focusing as much. I think cuz TikTok has made my attention span so short, but reading like you can't be scrolling on your phone and reading at the same time. It's impossible. So I think reading is a really good way to get out of your head because you can really escape. My car got towed and it costs $800 to get out, and I need 400 by 5 p.m. Love that for you, bestie. I thought it was bad when mine was $400 to get out. It is, I'm sorry, but people who tow cars are evil. Like they are always the worst people. They're so scammy. They make it so hard to get your car. As you know, I got my car towed recently and they literally like told you, like it literally says like your car's in Marina Del Rey. Doesn't tell you that you have to go to Inglewood and they charge an extra $90 per 30 minutes. Like and that could take like an hour and a half to 2 hours to get with traffic. Like, well, not 2 hours, that's drama, but it could take over an hour to get there with traffic. Um, yeah, no. People, I'm sorry you're going through that. It's like the worst feeling ever. When I got my car towed, I literally cried because it's just like a stressful experience. First of all, like you don't even know where your car is. You just go to look for it and it's gone. Like sometimes there will be a sign being like, "Oh, it's towed by this place," but like I don't know about you, but when my car got towed, I didn't even know who towed it or where it was. I had to like look it up online. I had no idea what to do. Yeah, it's awful. I hope you find the $400 and are able to get your car back, because that's the other thing. Like if you can't pay it like that day, like they just keep charging you more, which is so messed up because if you can't afford it today and then they're going to charge you more by tomorrow, like how do they think you're going to afford it it's just, I think people who tow cars need to get a life, and I think they're evil. The only men that have tried to talk to me this year so far end up being married with kids. Help. Bestie, I wish you were here in this room right now because I just feel like we need a lot more information about what's going on here. So, like, you don't know they're married at first, and then you find out, and this has happened multiple times. That is, I mean, where are you finding these men? that is not that it's your fault by any means. It's the man's fault. I'm just like, where are all these married men with kids who are hiding that they're married? Like dating apps? Are you meeting them out in person? We need more information. I don't have any experience, thank God, with dating a married man, but I will never forget this time in college. Celia and I, where were we? We were out at the bar at Lolita in Boston, and there was this guy Celia knew who I need her here to verify. He worked for, I think, one of the big clubs or something. Celia and I basically, we were like club rats in college. So anyone who could like get us like a table or VIP in the club, like we were gonna befriend them. Anyway, so this guy and then his like friend, they were weird and like older. Like then they like invited us to go to another bar with them. And so we did, because it's like always good to be on good terms with the people who can get you into the VIP section in the club when you're in your crazy club phase. So we went with them, just explaining why we went off with strange men. Oh, I think we went to Yvonne's. But anyway, we're like out and like this other guy's there, and like I posted a Snapchat. And this was like before, obviously, I was like doing social media, so I really don't even know how this was like discovered. But I posted a Snapchat, and the next day I woke up to like DMs from this guy's wife. He never mentioned he was married. Not the guy that Celia knew, but his friend who was tagging along, because he was like in the background. It was a Snapchat of me and Celia, and he was like in the background. I woke up to all of these messages like calling me and Celia a little whore and saying like, we better watch our backs because like the second we step foot on the street, she's going to beat the shit out of us. Yeah, because I guess she thought like, I'm sorry, but we would never be canoodling with her husband, even if he was single. But yeah, that's the only like bad experience I've had with a married man who didn't mention he was married. But like we weren't, it wasn't like a flirty thing. So nonetheless, like he was hitting the town without a wedding ring on. So obviously, like if she's like spying on him that much by seeing my Snapchat somehow, he must be doing this often. But yeah, Celia and I were scared shitless to go outside because we were like, we're gonna get beat up. But luckily nothing ever happened. I think we actually messaged the guy Celia was friends with him. We're like, hey, should we be worried? And he was like, oh, don't worry about this. She does this all the time. I was like, what? This poor woman, first of all, like, she should probably get a new husband. I am 26 and have no idea what the hell I am doing with my life or how to figure it out. Please help, Bestie. Look, I don't think, quite frankly, I'm now that I'm a wise 28-year-old, I really don't think you ever know what you're doing with your life. I think you just get more comfortable as time goes on with accepting that, like, you're not gonna know. Like, I have gotten to the point where, like, instead of overthinking everything and stressing out and what am I gonna do next? When am I gonna get married? When am I gonna feel like I, like, just have everything, like, all my ducks in a row and, like, whatever. Like, I am just trying to go with the flow and live my life because, like, stressing about it, spiraling about it, like, it doesn't it doesn't help. Like, that's not to say, like, you shouldn't have goals or, like, plans for your life. Obviously, you should, but I just think, like, give yourself more grace, number 1, for not knowing what you're doing, because I still very much don't know what I'm doing, and it's okay to change your mind. You know, I'm, like, the biggest preacher from someone who went to law school and decided not to be a lawyer because I knew I would be miserable, and luckily I had another career opportunity thanks to you guys, and I'm so grateful for it every day. But, like, it's okay to change your mind, it's okay to not know what you're doing, and like, everything will work out. Broke up with my mid-boyfriend last Friday. We're so up. Congratulations, bestie. That is the best thing you could ever do for yourself. It is so much better to be single than be with someone who is quote unquote mid. Like, life is too short to settle, and I'm learning that more and more the older I get. If you are with someone who you're like questioning if you should be with them, or like they don't really like do much for you, like being with someone should make your life easier. Like, whoever you're dating should make your life like significantly easier, and if they're not, I would say definitely drop them. that is some advice I should give my past self for sure. Just turned 26 on August 30th and feel everything feels more stressful. Please help, Virgo bestie. Oh, we're birthday twins. Happy birthday, bestie. My advice on are you just feeling more stressed because you're getting older? Because I really do get that, but I would just revert back to the spiel I just gave to the other 26-year-old bestie that we're very young. We have so much time to figure everything out. And if it makes anyone feel better, I have no idea what I'm doing with my life or where it will take me or where I'm going to live in a few years, like when I'm going to get married. Like, I don't know anything. I really don't. So if it makes you feel better, like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing either. Just try not to stress. Ask my situationship on a date and he rejected me. Ugh. First of all, so if he's your situationship, that means you're hooking up and he won't go on a date with you. That's like I hate, like, that is the worst. Like, men have the audacity to, like, be having sex with you and, like, they can't take you on a date. I would definitely drop him. It can't be that good of a situationship. I guess I'm assuming you're hooking up. Maybe you're not hooking up. I don't know. But I feel like usually situationship, at least in my terminology, means you're hooking up. I would drop him. You don't need that in your life. Once again, like, if he's not bettering your life, what's the point? Life is already stressful without a man making it more stressful. Okay. I am gonna wrap up this Bestie check-in because I've been talking for an hour and 5 minutes straight, so my voice is starting to get a bit raspy, and I've gotta head to my little cafe to edit this. But I love you so much. Hopefully, Celia should be back next week. I'll keep you updated. If not, then we'll do like maybe another like bestie check-in Q&A, or I'll just post on Girl House and ask what you want. If you don't follow Girl House Pod already on Instagram and TikTok, go follow, please, if you don't mind. And I love you so much. Celia loves you too. And hopefully we together will see you next week. And I hope you have the best weekend, and I love you.